Alright, y'all, it's that time again. My 2021 Oscar nomination predictions. Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and I'm back again with another video for you guys. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. For those of y'all who watch me for a while, you guys know. But for anybody new to my channel, even though I'm a music head, music is that's my soul, that's my everything. I also love films as well. I'm a low-key cinephile, so I have to hit you guys off every year with my final Oscar nomination predictions. So here we are. I'm so excited to give them to you guys. The Oscar nominations are going to be dropping on Monday, March 15th. But before they drop, I want to give you guys my final list. So let's see how I did. I'm excited to give them to you guys. This has been a very weird year for the film award season, but also a very interesting year because of the panorama. I don't know really what's going to go down at the end of the day. There could be a lot of shocks and snubs and surprises. There probably will be because of how much of a hidden year it's been in terms of what people in the Academy are really feeling. We've had the Globes and the SAGs and the Critics' Choice and the BAFTAs and all that to kind of give us a clue as to where things are going, and all the guilds as well as usual. But it's been a really interesting year of people not really having to go out and shake hands and really promote their stuff the way they usually do because we're all in lockdown. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the nominations this year. But I still think I did a pretty good job with my list. We'll never know, but let's see how I do once Monday comes. But yeah, man, I really have loved the season so far. Even with us not being able to go out and see movies the way we normally do. There's been so many great films that came out this year that I really genuinely love so much. Namely movies like Minari. Love that movie. Nomadland. When I first saw it, I didn't like it, but it grew on me when I watched it again. Rainey's Black Bottom, such a good film with amazing performances. One Night in Miami, same thing. Judas and the Black Messiah, amazing film. Sound of Metal, as someone who grew up with a lot of ear issues, that's why I'm thankful for music. That movie really touched me. So many good movies came out this year, so I'm really excited to see how things will play out. But yeah, without further ado, let me stop rambling. Let's get into it. Here are my final Oscar nomination predictions for the 2021 Oscars ceremony. I'm so excited. Y'all ready? Let's go. Alright, y'all, first category we got is Best Picture. So this is the biggest award every year, like y'all know, so let's get it. For my top 10 for Best Picture, I have Nomadland, The Chicago 7, Minari, Rainey's Black Bottom, Promising Young Woman, One Night in Miami, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Sound of Metal, and The Father. So I feel good about my top 10. I definitely feel like my top 9 are locked in. I feel like the top 9 are locks in my opinion. The top 9 films were recognized by the Critics' Choice and by PGA, all 9 of them. So I feel like they're definitely all locks to get nominated for Best Picture. In my 10th spot, I have The Father. I feel good about The Father. The Father wasn't recognized by Critics' Choice or by the PGA, but it was recognized by the Globes and the BAFTAs, so I feel like that signals a lot of love for that film by a lot of Academy members. So I feel like it would get that 10th spot if there were to be 10 films. And then right under that, in my my films on the bubble, I have in my 11th spot The Five Bloods. I feel like The Five Bloods has a chance of getting nominated. I don't feel like it was as loved as a lot of other films in the top 10, even though I personally love The Five Bloods. The Five Bloods was one of my favorite films of last year. I love that film, but I feel like it would miss out on the Best Picture nomination, even though it would be deserved in my opinion. It didn't get love at the Globes or the BAFTAs or the PGA, but it was nominated for Critics' Choice, so that it has that going for it, And then after that, we have News of the World, which at one point I thought was going to be in the top 10 for sure, but it's kind of been fading out, so I feel like it's not going to make it anymore. Soul, I would love to see that. I would love to see that nomination, but I don't think it will happen. It's an animated film, and I feel like even though it's loved critically, it hasn't really been getting a lot of love by by producers groups. So, it hasn't been recognized by PGA, by Critics' Choice as a film. It's really just been being stuck in the animated pile instead of the film pile. So I don't feel like it'll get into the Best Picture race, but I'd love for that to happen. And then in my number 14 spot, I have Borat: Subsequent Movie Film, which is a film that I actually liked. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was given love by the PGA, which was surprising to me, but then again, not surprising because I can see that it probably took a lot for that movie to be made, so I can see why the PGA gave love to it. But it wasn't recognized by the BAFTAs or by the it was recognized by the Globes too for a Best Comedy Musical Film, so there was that. So I feel like it has a chance to be nominated as a shocker surprise, but I don't see it happening. But it could be a major shocker come Oscar nom morning. Let's see what happens. But yeah, man, those are all the movies I have in contention for Best Picture. I don't see any of the film making it in. but you know, crazy things have happened, so we'll see. But those are my top 10 for Best Picture and my movies right under it. So let me know what y'all think about my list, and let me know what are your picks for Best Picture this year. All right, y'all, now on to Best Director. So for Best Director, my top 5, I have Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Aaron Sorkin for The Child of Chicago 7, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. So for this year's director race, I honestly just went with the DJ5. I feel like these directors just make sense in my opinion. Even though the DJ5 doesn't always match up with the Oscar 5, there's always been at least one snub every year for like a couple years now. I just feel like the DJ5 makes sense to me. But honestly, this really was the hardest category to predict this year in terms of where there could be a snub, because I feel like besides Chloe Zhao, I feel like these other 4 directors could all equally be snubbed for a dark horse, but I'm just not sure who would be. But if there were to be a snub in the bottom 4 of my top 5, I could see it being, I feel like my money will be on Aaron Sorkin or maybe Emerald Fennell. But I feel like all these 5 will make it in. So let's see what happens. But in my bottom 10, I have Regina King at number 6 with One Night in Miami. And then I have Spike Lee with The Five Bloods. And then I have Florian Zeller with The Father. And then we have Darius Marder with Sound of Metal. And lastly, we have Shaka King with Judas and the Black Messiah. So I feel like out of these bottom 5, I feel like Regina King is the most likely to be included in the top 5. The Academy really does have like a bias towards actor directors, which I feel like could really hurt Regina King in terms of her getting the nomination. We've seen it with, you know, Bradley Cooper, Ben Affleck, and time again. There have been a lot of actor directors who've made it in, but there has been a lot of actor directors who have not made it in as well. So I feel like Regina is kind of playing with fire in her category. I feel like Darius Marder and Shaka King could be the dark horses this year, because not a lot of people have really been talking about them being nominated for a director, like as serious contenders, but I really feel like their films are really beloved, and I really like what they both do with their films, so I feel like they could be the dark horse. If there were to be a snub in the top 5, like I said, with probably it being either Aaron Sorkin or Emerald Fennell, but I feel pretty good about the DJ5, so I'm gonna stick with those 5. But we'll see what happens come Oscar morning. All right, y'all, now on to Best Actor. So for Best Actor, my top 5, I have Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Steven Yeun for Minari, and Delroy Lindo for The Five Bloods. So yeah, that's my top 5. I feel like the top 3 are obviously very much locked in. Those 3 are definitely making it in. Steven Yeun could be snubbed, but I feel like he'll make it in. I feel like the Academy will have a lot of love for Minari, so I feel like Steven Yeun will ride that wave. And then Delroy Lindo, I feel like he's not going to be a lot of people's top 5, but he's in mine. I feel like because of all the outrage that has happened over the past few weeks and months with him missing out on the SAGs and the BAFTAs, I feel like that could coalesce into him getting a lot of votes for Best Actor this year. So I feel like he could make it into that last spot. And I feel like the big snub this year that I'm predicting in the acting categories will be Gary Oldman missing out for Mank, who's in my number 6 spot. I feel like Gary Oldman was good in Mank, but I feel like because he just won 2 years ago, and because I feel like to me he didn't stand out in Mank as much as he probably should have for the type of movie that it was, I feel like he'll be the big snub this year in the acting categories. But I could be wrong, because he's like a lot of people's top 4 too, so I could be wrong. But I feel like Gary Oldman will be the acting snub this year, the big one. I feel like he'll be, but I could be wrong. So yeah, Gary Oldman is my number 6 spot, and then right under him I have Tahir Rahim for The Mauritanian, who also could very likely get in as well. And then I also have Mads Mikkelsen for Another Round. He can get in. He got a lot of love at the BAFTA, so that shows a lot of love for, you know, him in the global side of the Academy. And then right under that I have Kingsley Ben-Adir for One Night in Miami, who I'm rooting for, even though I don't think he'll make it in. And lastly, Tom Hanks with News of the World, who at one point I thought was definitely gonna be a contender, but he's really been fading away as the season has gone on. But yeah, those are my picks for Best Actor. Let me know what y'all think. All right, now we're on to Best Actress. So for Best Actress in my top 5, I have Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, and Andra Day for United States vs. Billie Holiday. I feel good about these top 5. I feel like this will definitely be the top 5. This was the Globe 5, I believe. I feel like this will be the top 5 as well. I like this top 5. I feel like, honestly, I kind of feel like they're all locks. You could probably say Vanessa Kirby and Andra Day are vulnerable, but I still think they've been doing really well all season. Andra Day did miss at BAFTAs and the SAGs, but I feel like her Globe win really helped her out. And honestly, in my opinion, if it were to me, I'll be giving Andra Day the Oscar myself. If it were to me, I'll give her the Oscar this year, because she's my favorite performance this year for an actress. But Carey Mulligan won the Critics' Choice, so she's definitely a front runner as well. A lot of people really are rooting for her to, for her to win this year. Frances McDormand, legend, she killed it in Nomadland. She's been nominated everywhere. Viola Davis has been nominated everywhere as well, besides the BAFTA, so I feel like she's definitely in. And Vanessa Kirby has gotten love everywhere, I think, too, so she's definitely in as well. Yeah, so I feel good about the top 5. And my top 10, right under them I have Zendaya with Malcolm and Marie, who I don't think will actually get in, but I would love for her to be a surprise pick, but I don't think she'll make it in. Even though I loved her in that movie, even though the movie was like divisive, I still loved her in that movie. And then we have Rosamund Pike with I Care a Lot. I really liked her in that film, and I like that movie. I don't see her making it in, but her win at the Golden Globes for her winning Best Musical Comedy Actress does help her a lot, but I don't think she'll make it in because this is a very tight year. But if this had been a weaker year, she could have made it in, but I don't think she will. But she has a shot. And then we also have Amy Adams with for Hillbilly Elegy, who got the SAG nomination. I liked her in that movie. I don't think she should be nominated, but she could be. You never know. And then we have Yeri Han with Minari under that. And then we have Sophia Loren with The Life Ahead in my last spot. I really feel like another dark horse to share could be Yeri Han in Minari. Yeri Han had a really quiet role in that movie, but a really powerful one. I really loved her performance. It was really understated and quiet and really low-key, but I thought it was a really powerful performance that really resonated with you even after you watched it. So I feel like if there were to be a dark horse in Best Actress, I feel like she could be the one this year, but let's see what happens. If not Rosamund Pike, I could see Yeri Han being the dark horse this year. But I really do feel like the top 5 are locked in. So yeah, those are my picks for Best Actress. Let me know what y'all think. And now we're on to Best Supporting Actor. So for Best Supporting Actor, my top 5, I have Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Sacha Baron Cohen for The Child of Chicago 7, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Chadwick Boseman for The Five Bloods, and Paul Raci for Sound of Metal. I feel good about my top 5. I feel like the top 3 are definitely locked in. Those 3 guys have been getting everything they need all season, so they're definitely getting the top 3 are locked in. Chadwick Boseman, he missed out on the Globes and the BAFTA, but I still feel like because he got the Critics' Choice and the SAG, that shows a lot of love for his performance. And I feel like the Academy won't want to miss up the opportunity to give Chadwick, 2 nominations in the year that he passed. I feel like not only because he deserves it, but because, he hasn't been nominated his whole career, so I feel like they definitely want to give him at least 2 nominations this year. Even though he'll win for Rainey, I still feel like we should recognize his beautiful work in The Five Bloods as well. So I feel like he'll get in. And then Paul Raci, he got the Critics' Choice and the BAFTA, but even though he missed out on the Globes and the SAGs, I still feel like he has the Critics' Choice and BAFTA show a lot of love for that performance in general. So I feel like that's a performance that'll take that last spot for that beloved performance that maybe missed out on some major awards, but because people love it so much, he'll get into the Oscars regardless. So I feel like Paul Raci will take that last spot, in my opinion. So I feel good about my top 5. And then in my bottom 10, I have Jared Leto for The Little Things. Jared Leto picked up the Globe and the SAG nomination, which bodes well for him, but I still don't think he'll get the Oscar nomination. I thought he was great in Little Things, but I don't think that performance should be nominated for an Oscar, even though I liked his performance. But I don't think he should be nominated for an Oscar. And then we have Bill Murray for On the Rocks. Bill Murray got the Critics' Choice and he got the Golden Globes. And I loved him in On the Rocks, but I don't think he'll make it in, but he could be a surprise pick. I'll be okay with that because I loved him in that movie. And then I have Alan Kim for Minari. And then I have Mark Rylance for The Child of Chicago 7 and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II for The Child of Chicago 7 to fill out my bottom 10. I feel like one of the Child Boys could be a surprise pick, but I doubt it. Alan Kim could be a really cute surprise pick as well for that cute ass kid. Shout out to Alan Kim. But yeah, I really feel like the top 5 will be the top 5. If there were to be a surprise pick, I could see it being either Jared Leto or Bill Murray, but we'll see what happens. And now on to the most confusing category this year, just like 2 years ago. Now we're on to Best Supporting Actress. This category has been a mess all award season, but it's made it interesting. In my top 5 for Best Supporting Actress, I have Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Yoon Ye-jung for Minari, Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film, and Amanda Seyfried for Mank. I feel good about these top 5 because I feel like these ladies have pretty much been the top 5 who've been getting love all award season in different places, even though to varying levels. But there still could be a lot of surprises at the Oscars, and I feel like this is definitely a category where there could be a lot of dark horse surprises this year, especially when you look at people in my bottom 10. But yeah, to me, all these top 5 they feel pretty good. I don't really know about even my order within itself, but I just kind of guessed, to be honest. But yeah, and in my bottom 10, we have Helena Zango, News of the World, who got the Globe and the SAG nominations. So that really bodes well for her, even though like I feel like the Oscars tend to avoid nominating children for Oscars, so that could hurt her. At number 7, I have Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, who got the surprising Globes win, which is good for her, but I still feel like besides the Globes, she hasn't really gotten a lot of love in all the other places this award season, so I don't think she'll get in, but she could. She could surprise. My personal pick for someone who I really think could be a dark horse, I don't want to predict her in my top 5, but I'll be mad as hell if she gets in. I didn't predict it, but I really could see Dominique Fishback being someone who gets in as a major dark horse, like someone no one saw coming but gets nominated in this category. I can see it being Dominique Fishback. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on her. That could happen, and I would love for that to happen because she was amazing. And Judas and the Black Messiah, she was so good in that film. So I'd love for her to get the nomination. But I feel like because her runtime, her screen time wasn't that long, and she wasn't really like a focus for that film. So that's why I feel like she won't get the nomination. But she did get a nomination from The Bachelor, so I feel like that could help out a lot. So we'll see. And then we also have Ellen Burstyn from Pieces of a Woman, who I feel like was great in that movie, but I feel like she hasn't gotten a lot of love besides Critics' Choice this award season, so I don't feel like she'll make it in, even though she was great in that film. That film hasn't really been seen by a lot of people, and it's not really been talked about a lot because it's a hard film to get through, so I feel like that'll hurt Ellen Burstyn, even though she was great in that film. And then lastly, we have Saoirse Ronan for M. Night, who I think is dead in the water. I liked in that movie, and that was a cool movie, but that movie is dead in the water, so I don't think Saoirse will make it in. But she's my last spot. So let me know what y'all think about this confusing ass category down below. Alright, now on to the screenplay category. So first up, we got Best Original Screenplay. So for Original Screenplay, my top 5, I have The Trial of the Chicago 7, Promising Young Woman, Minari, Mank, and Judas and the Black Messiah. So I feel really good about my top 5. I feel like these 5 have pretty much been consistently getting love by awards bodies and by the Writers Guild in the original screenplay category, so I feel good about these. In my bottom 10, I have Sound of Metal, Soul, Palm Springs, Defy Bloods, and Never Rarely Sometimes Always. So for me, it was so hard to pick between Judas and the Black Messiah and Sound of Metal for who took that last spot in the top 5. But eventually I went with Judas and the Black Messiah because I feel like overall it's gonna be higher up in the ranks for Best Picture. And I feel like as a story, it's more relevant to this year, more so than Sound of Metal. But Sound of Metal is a really universal, beautiful story that I really loved. Like I said, and I can relate to it. So I would love for it to get into the top 5 for Best Original Screenplay, but I'm also rooting for Judas and the Black Messiah too because I thought that was a great screenplay and great movie. So for me, it was kind of hard to pick between those two because I feel like they're on the bubble for that last spot, but I went with Judas. But I would love for Sound of Metal to get in. I feel like Sound of Metal definitely has a great shot to get into the top 5, so we'll see what happens. And then for the rest of my top 10, I don't see anyone surprising, but somebody could. I probably would bet on maybe Soul surprising, but I still think if there were to be surprised, it would be Sound of Metal. So yeah, man, those are my picks for Best Original Screenplay. Let me know what y'all think down below. And now we're on to Best Adapted Screenplay. So for Best Adapted Screenplay, my top 5, I feel like this top 5 is pretty locked up. I feel like they've been getting everything across the board. You know, WGA, all the awards bodies, I feel like this top 5 are locked up. I have Nomadland, One Night in Miami, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, The Father, and News of the World. I feel like these will be the top 5, easy, no need to argue about it. But if there were to be a surprise, in my bottom 10, I have The White Tiger, Borat's subsequent movie film, First Cow, The Mauritanian, and I'm thinking of Ending Things. I don't think the top 5 will. I feel like the top 5 will be who we'll see at the Oscar nominations. But if there were to be a surprise in this category, I could see it probably being The White Tiger, or maybe even First Cow, possibly Borat, but I doubt it, but it could be a surprise pick. We'll see. But I feel like the top 5 are who we'll see at the Oscar nominations come Monday. But yeah, that's my picks for Best Adapted Screenplay. Let me know what y'all think down below. Alright, now we're on to Best Animated Feature. So for Best Animated Feature, in my top 5, I have the top 5 that we've been seeing across the board all award season, so I feel like it's pretty easy. We have Soul, Wolfwalkers, Over the Moon, Onward, and The Croods: A New Age. And then my bottom 10, I have a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, The Willoughbys, Trolls World Tour, Earwig and the Witch, and number 7, Cherry Lane. I've not seen any of the movies in the bottom 10, so I can't really, you know, say who I really think will be a surprise besides maybe Shaun the Sheep, because I've seen a lot of love for that movie, and you know, with the animated animation awards bodies. So I feel like the Shaun the Sheep or maybe even the Wallabies could surprise, but I feel like the top 5 are locked in. The Croods is probably the one that's vulnerable in the top 5, but I feel like those are who we'll see in the top 5. If the Croods were to replace somebody, I could see Shaun the Sheep, maybe the Wallabies replacing the Croods. But like I said, I've not seen any of the bottom 10, so I can't really tell you. But those are my picks for best animated feature. All right, y'all. Now we're on to best original score. So in my top 5 for best original score, I have Soul, Mank, News of the World, Minari, and Tenet. I feel pretty good about the top 5. They were all recognized by Precursor Awards and by the Society of Composers and Lyricists. So I feel like they were all given love by, you know, guilds and Precursor Awards. So I feel like they're all set for the nomination. I feel pretty good about the top 5. In my bottom 10, I have The Five Bloods, The Midnight Sky, The Child of Chicago 7, The Little Things, and Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. I love the bottom 10 as well. I feel like the only movie that has a real chance of upsetting could be The Five Bloods. I know a lot of people don't like that score, but I love the Five Bloods score. I thought that score was really interesting, really different, really innovative, and just, it was really jarring, but also really dope at the same time. So I really feel like, you know, also because Terrence Blanchard got love from the Society of Composers and Lyricists, I feel like he also has a chance of getting nominated as well, but we'll have to see. If there were to be someone in the top 5 that's vulnerable, I could see it being Tenet. Shout out to Ludwig Göransson. I don't think he'll miss out, but if there were to be someone that's vulnerable, I could see it being him. But I think he'll make it in. But yeah, Terrence Blanchard could be the surprise in this category, but we'll have to see. I would love for him to get in for The Five Bloods, but I don't know if he'll make it. But I'd love for that to happen. So let's see what happens with best original score. All right, now on to best original song. So for best original song, my top 5, I have "Speak Now" from One Night in Miami, "Low C" Scene from The Life Ahead, "Fight for You" from Judas and the Black Messiah, "Hear My Voice" from The Child of Chicago 7, and Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest: The Story of Fire Saga. I feel pretty good about the top 5. In my top 4, the top 4 songs were nominated by Critics' Choice and by the Globes. And Husavik was nominated by Critics' Choice and by the Society of Composers and Lyricists, so I feel like it also has a great shot as well as getting to the top 5. In my bottom 5, I have Turntables from All in the Fight for Democracy, Wuhan Flu from Borat's subsequent movie film, hilarious song, Free from the one and only Ivan, shout out to Diane Warren, Make It Work from Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey, great song, and Loyal, Brave, and True from Mulan. I honestly feel like anybody from the bottom 5 can make it into the top 5, but I still feel like the top 5 are locked in, but I could see Turntables make it in. I could see Wuhan Flu being a funny surprise pick. I could see Free make it in for the Diane Warren factor, but I doubt it. Make It Work was a beautiful song that I could see them wanting to be performed on the Oscar stage. I could see that being a factor in the top 5. And Loyal, Brave, and True, you know, the love for Mulan, Christina Aguilera, her star factor, I could see it being I could see that happening too. But my one gripe with this category is I don't understand why the hell Tigress and Tweed, Andre Day's song for the United States versus Billie Holiday, was not shortlisted for this category. Tigress and Tweed is an amazing song that I feel is one of the best original songs made for a film this Oscar season. I don't know why it wasn't shortlisted. I'm really mad about that. Tigress and Tweed is a great song, so I'm really mad it wasn't shortlisted. Andre Day deserved better, and honestly, Tigress and Tweed would have been in my top 5. It was nominated by the Globes, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was messed up. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. But let me know what you think about best original song down below. And now we're on to best sound. No sound mixing, no sound editing, just best sound. In my top 5 this year, I have Sound of Metal, funny enough in itself, News of the World, Mank, Greyhound, and Tenet. In my bottom 5, I have Soul, The Child of Chicago 7, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, The Midnight Sky, and Nomadland. So I feel pretty good on my top 5. I feel like the top 5 are pretty much locked in. If there were to be a surprise, I could see Soul or Child of Chicago 7 being a surprise pick in this category. But the top 5 have gotten love from Precursors and from the Cinema Audio Society. So I feel like they're all pretty much locked in. I feel like this is a good top 5 as well. But yeah, like I said, I could see Soul or Trial being surprise picks in this category. But yeah, that's best sound. Let me know what y'all think. Now we're on to best production design, which is honestly my favorite category. I love this category. For my top 5 in best production design, we have Mank, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, News of the World, Mulan, and Tenet. All great picks. I love all these films. They all have great production design. Mank is definitely a frontrunner, as well as Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. In my bottom 5, I have The Child of Chicago 7, Emma, The Midnight Sky, The Personal History of David Copperfield, and The Father. I feel pretty good about the top 5. They all got love from precursors and from the Art Directors Guild, so I feel like they're all locked in. But from the bottom 5, I could see almost any of them taking, being dark horses. Mainly Emma, The Midnight Sky. I could see that. I could see the those being dark horses as well. The Father's got a lot of love for its production design. Even though I haven't seen that movie, so I can't really tell. It looks like it's just a house, but whatever. Those are my picks for best production design. Let's see what happens. But I feel like the top 5 or who will be the top 5 once Oscar nominations come. But let's see what happens. All right, now on to best cinematography. In my top 5 for this category, I have Nomadland, Mank, News of the World, Tenet, and Judas and the Black Messiah. So I feel like the top 3 are definitely locked in for sure. Tenet and Judas are vulnerable, but I feel like they'll definitely get the last spots. Tenet is vulnerable, but I still feel like, Hoyten Van Voitem, I think that's his name, I forgot how to pronounce it, but he always gets a lot of love from the Oscars. And Chris Nolan loves working with him, so they always, he always gets nominated. And Judas and Black Messiah, Sean Bobbitt's cinematography that movie was really beautiful to me. I loved how it was like dark. I really feel like it fit the vibe of that movie, so I feel like he'll get nominated. But he's definitely vulnerable. And then in my bottom 5, I have The Five Bloods, Trial of the Chicago 7, Minari, Cherry, and First Cow. I could see any one of these being dark horses. I'll be rooting for The Five Bloods to be a dark horse because I love that cinematography in that film. I thought it was great. As well as Minari. Minari was pretty good too. But I really love the top 5 the most. And now on to best makeup and hairstyling. So this is a category I'm not really sure what they're going to do with at the Oscars. We know who's shortlisted, so we know who's in contention, but I'm not really sure what they're going to do with the top 5. But for my top 5, I have Rainey's Black Bottom, Hillbilly Elegy, Mank, Birds of Prey, and Mulan. So I definitely feel like the top 3, in my opinion, are kind of locks and are definitely all locked in. Birds of Prey is not a lock, but I feel like it'll pretty much get the nomination. And I feel like Mulan is vulnerable, but I would love for it to get that last spot because I thought that makeup and hairstyling was great in that film. Really good. So I'd love for it to get that last spot. And then in my bottom 5, I have Pinocchio, Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey, Emma, The Little Things, and The Glorias. So I can see any of these being dark horses. I've not seen The Glorious, so I can't really talk about that one, but Pinocchio could definitely get in. Jangle Jangle I could see getting in. It got love from the Guild for its hairstyling, not for makeup, so we'll see. But I love that film, so I'm rooting for it regardless. Emma could definitely get in. The Little Things, I'm not really sure. It didn't get love from the Guilds, but it got shortlisted. I'm not really sure why it would get in besides for Jared Leto's makeup and stuff, but to me it wasn't that deep, so we'll see what happens. But the top 5 feel pretty good to me. Let's see what happens. And now on to best costume design. So for best costume design in my top 5, I have Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Emma, Mulan, and Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. I love that top 5. I thought these movies all had great costuming. Even though I haven't seen Emma, I saw the trailer and the costume looked amazing in that movie. So I definitely feel like it'll definitely get in. Rainey and Mank and Emma all feel like locks to me. Mulan and Jingle Jangle are vulnerable, but I hope they get in because the costume of those movies were both great. So I really hope they get in. In my bottom 5, I have The Personal History of David Copperfield, The United States vs. Billie Holiday, Judas and the Black Messiah, which could be a really cool pick in my opinion, a really cool choice. News of the World, and Promising Young Woman. I could see any of these getting in. I'm rooting for, in the bottom 10, I'm rooting for US vs. Billie Holiday, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Promising Young Woman. Only because I love how the costumes really reflected the different phases that movie went through. Even though it was really simple costuming for a contemporary film, I love how the costume really helped the narrative of that movie. So those are the 3 movies I'm rooting for in the bottom 5. But yeah, anybody can make it in. But the top 5 feel pretty good to me. Let me know what y'all think about best costume design. And now we're on to best film editing, a very important category when it comes to really thinking about who will win and be nominated for best picture. I tend to see a lot. So for best film editing, in my top 5, I have The Trial of the Chicago 7, Nomadland, Sound of Metal, Mank, and The Father. So the top 4 I feel like locks to me. They were all, given love by the Critics' Choice and by the Eddies, the American Cinema Editors Awards. So I feel like they'll all get in for sure. I feel like The Father is vulnerable, and I feel like it's vulnerable to my next in line, which is Minari at number 6. Minari didn't get love from the Critics' Choice, and it didn't get love from a lot of awards bodies, but it got love from the Eddies, from the American Cinema Editors, so I feel like it definitely has a shot to get in over The Father. And then in the rest of my top 10, I have Tenet, who also feel like could be a spoiler as well, because Tenet had really great editing, so that could be no spoiler in this category. And then after Tenet, we have Promising Young Woman, News of the World, and Judas and the Black Messiah to fill out my top 10. I feel like my top 4 are locked in. If there were to be someone that's vulnerable, I could see being the father, and I could see either Minari or Tenet being the film that takes the spot of the father, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are my picks for best film editing. Let me know what y'all think. Alright y'all, now we're on to the last category that I'll talk about in depth, and that's best visual effects. So for best visual effects, in my top 5, I have Tenet, The Midnight Sky, Mank, Mulan, and Soul. I really feel good about the top 5. And my bottom 5, I have a bunch of movies that I've not really seen besides Birds of Prey, so I'm not really sure who could be the dark horse and spoil it to go into the top 5, but we'll see what happens. In my bottom 5, we have Welcome to Chechnya, The One and Only Ivan, Birds of Prey, Bloodshot, and Love and Monsters. And to be honest, these were all shortlisted, so that's why I know they're in contention, because they're all shortlisted by the Oscars. But I'm really surprised that Jingle Jangle and Greyhound weren't shortlisted. I feel like those movies both had really great effects, visual effects. I'm not really understanding why they weren't shortlisted by the Oscars. I was really rooting for Jingle Jangle and Greyhound to both be, you know, recognized in this category. Not so much like recognized in the top 5, but at least be shortlisted at least, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so in the bottom 5, I'm not really sure who could be in the top 5. Like I said, I'm not really sure who could spoil, but I feel pretty good about my top 5. Namely, Tenet, Midnight Sky. Yeah, I feel like those two are definitely locks. Mank, Mulan, and Soul I don't think are locks, but I feel like they're pretty much gonna get the nomination, so we'll see what happens. But those are my picks for best visual effects. Alright y'all, so those are all of my final nomination predictions for the Oscars this year. I can't wait to see what happens on Monday when the nominations are announced. Let me know what y'all think about my predictions down below. Let me know what are your predictions. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens this year, because like I said, it's a very wide open year. There wasn't really a lot of politics behind the scenes like there normally is. There wasn't a lot of like, viewings by a lot of people in like theaters and stuff like that. So everyone really had to watch stuff at home, really soak it up for themselves, and really, digest and really think about things for themselves when it comes to all these movies. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that'll be reflected in the nominations this year. But a lot of categories, I'm really excited to see what happens. Especially, I feel like picture will be pretty predictable, but I'm really excited to see what happens with best director, best supporting actress, and a lot of the craft categories. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with those. But yeah, man, this is definitely gonna be a very interesting year, so let's see what happens. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Appreciate y'all. And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song, make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song, or go watch a movie. Alright, y'all, and we're still in the Panda Express, so stop playing, wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance as much as you can. And when it's time to get vaccinated, please don't hesitate to get vaccinated. When it's your time to get vaccinated, please do it. I already got my 2 shots, and I'm okay. So I'm gonna say it again, we're in a whole Panda Express. Stop playing, guys. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance. Still continue to do that stuff. It's important, y'all, so we can go back to normal life at some point, okay? All right, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what y'all thought about the video and about your predictions down below, like I said. And yeah, man, I'm about to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. This has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. But for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just